Whenever you experience an event, interaction, or interchange that is loving, acknowledge it and the person who caused it. March 24, 2014. As you observe the news being reported on the mainstream media, you cannot help but be aware of the enormous changes that are occurring across the world. In many countries, people are refusing to continue accepting the authoritarian control and repression that their so-called democratic governments are attempting to enforce on them through the police and military, so that the reasonable demands of the governed to be heard, acknowledged, and discussed can be suppressed and ignored. The days of directing and controlling the populace are over. People will be heard. They will no longer allow themselves to be fobbed off by calls to wait patiently until the present almost insurmountable problems that their governments are facing have been satisfactorily dealt with, because they see that these excuses, economic crises, terrorist threats, extreme weather, unruly unions, etc., are the same old excuses that are reissued every time that the people demand to have the real issues that concern them discussed and resolved. Politicians by their very nature seek only to retain their positions of power and authority, as do owners and managers in industry, and civil servants employed by governments. Those with power and influence are always attempting to increase it, and their claims that they are acting in the best interests of those who elected them or who work under their authority are very seldom valid. The illusion encourages individuals to take advantage of every situation to better themselves by strengthening their precarious grip on power and influence, regardless of the consequences for those over whom they rule or have authority. And that grip on power and authority is extremely precarious, needing constant support and buffering. All governments are authoritarian and aim to set one section of the population against another, so that they can justify authoritarian practices and behaviors. It's just that some are far more blatant about it than others, thus setting themselves up to be judged, and often condemned, by their less indiscreet neighbors. Politics, as you experience it in the illusion, is about blame and shame in order to distract attention from the issues that truly need to be addressed for the benefit of every human. And, of course, you all experience the governments that align with your own attitudes and beliefs. However, the love flood is changing that rapidly, and awareness of the need for compassionate change to the way humanity lives on the planet and how it treats its billions of members and the planet herself is growing daily. If you could see the results that you are achieving by your loving intentions, you would be truly amazed. But of course, in your severely limited state of consciousness, it is extremely difficult for you to fully appreciate what is actually happening all across the world, as the mainstream media, as usual, focus on strife, conflict and disaster because for eons that has been what has interested humanity. The new age that has just dawned is an age in which care for others is equal in importance to care for oneself, and it is this new attitude which is driving the changes that so many of you have come to Earth to put into effect, and for which you have been praying most intensely all your lives. You will not be disappointed. Make a point of focusing on the good things that are occurring all around you, often seemingly small, insignificant things, and remind yourselves that nothing is insignificant, and that every loving thought, word, or action has extremely far-reaching effects, always. Then continue to intend to be loving in every moment as you bring in the essential changes for which you have been waiting, and which you chose to be on Earth to assist in implementing. You are all having an absolutely enormous impact on the attitudes of humanity by your ongoing demonstrations of love in action, and there is no way that the clock can be turned back. Love is flooding the planet and nowhere can be closed off to it. The collective intent of humanity is for love to replace fear, and the collective intent is always brought to fruition. During these last hours of strife, conflict and suffering, continue holding your individual lights on high. They are becoming ever brighter and more intense. Whenever you experience an event, interaction, or interchange that is loving, and this will happen with increasing frequency, acknowledge it, and the person who caused it, honor it, and then rejoice that the changes that you came on Earth to assist in implementing are occurring right in front of you, moment to moment, and are unstoppable and irreversible. Every thought, word, or action that each individual takes to further strengthen and establish this new era is enormously intensified by the divine field of love that supports you in every moment of your existence. The field of love is like an enormous magnet to which all are drawn because you were created from it, and are being drawn back into its loving embrace. The closer you get to it, and you are constantly moving closer to it, the stronger becomes its pull, the more irresistible its attraction, because you and it are one and the same, and you are coming home. Your loving brother, Jesus. Channeled by John Smallman. johnsmallman2.wordpress.com